Hi guys, Freddy here, welcome back to Desktop for another retro RPG, and this week I would like to present this, a very shiny copy of the Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition Dungeon Master's Guide Core Rulebook number 2. Now the last few weeks I've been going over Dungeons & Dragons, because as I've mentioned, I'm Dungeon Mastering again after a break of some 30 years. Last time I Dungeon Mastered D&D, it was 1st edition, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons that I ran. And then I've played a lot of Dungeons & Dragons, going through 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 3.5. I think I played a few sessions of 4, and I've played a few campaigns now of 5, as well as being back to Dungeon Mastering. But I've got a collection of these books. My attention's been drawn back to Dungeons & Dragons, so I've been going over these. I hope to make this video a lot shorter than last week's mega epic on the D&D Player's Handbook, Core Rulebook 1. So let's flick through this one quickly. Starting with the back cover. Worlds of Inspiration by Monty Cook, Skip Williams and Jonathan Tweet. You've got the Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook, but you need more. You're the Dungeon Master and it's up to you to create adventures and worlds for your friends' characters to experience, explore and conquer. This book contains everything you need, from special high-level classes to magic items, artifacts and more. You're the Dungeon Master and all the Dungeons & Dragons secrets are yours. So, it's the same absolutely gorgeous presentation as the Player's Handbook. You know, a nice robust cover. This all feels quality. The printing is definitely of absolutely top-end desktop publishing, especially for the year 2000. It looks lovely. These parchment-style pages. Now we get straight into it with the Dungeon Mastering section, where it goes through a rough guide, something you'd find on the internet these days, something I might make a video of, where it talks about providing the world, determining style of play, adjudicating, propelling the game ever forward. These are all really good hints. Keeping game balance, changing the rules. Yeah, you're the games master, you can change everything you want. And it's laying that out, making it very clear. Running a game session. Setting the stage. I kind of like this illustration because it kind of looks like the characters are playing D&D. It's not. They're planning some kind of heist. They've got buildings plans there. Something I also forgot to mention with the Player's Handbook. These characters, a number of them crop up again and again. The elf mage in the weird bikini definitely appears in numerous pictures. They tried to create characters, although they don't really detail them in the books, which you would see again and again. There was an animated movie, sort of choose-your-own-adventure style DVD, where at the end of each chapter it asks you a question. You could press select to go on. It was called Scourge of Worlds. I did a review for that for the website when it first came out, 2005-ish, maybe even earlier than that. But I may redo that for the channel. Now I can take video. We shall see about that, but that video includes these characters basically on an adventure, which was nice. I liked the storytelling aspect. It sort of drove you into it. Characters. So it goes into generating characters, it details the sub-races of, you know, drow, wild elves, wood elves. Monsters as races, giving you an idea. Oh, there's Aasimar for the first time. Level equivalent, class levels +1. Tiefling. These are obviously quite popular because now they're standard classes in 5th edition. Classes and modifying them. Prestige classes. This was an addition to the game where, as an advanced character, once you'd gone up a few levels, you could become a prestige class to customize it. So you just weren't a fighter all the way through. You could be a fighter arcane archer where you learn a bit of wizardry. You could be an assassin. It was definitely bringing back the millions of classes which had in 1st edition AD&D, but making them more customizable. So you start off as a base character, and then you become something more advanced. We've got Fallen Paladins there. Dwarven Defender. Shadow Dancer. Lore Master. What else we got here? We've got NPC classes. detailing all them out. So you don't have to have all your villagers just as fighters or whatever. They actually can be commoners, aristocrats, experts. It gives details for all of those. Apprentice level characters. Characters in the world around them. Let's keep skipping through. Lots of tables and charts here. I'm not a huge fan of for NPC bards, clerics, fighters, wizards. Then we're on to running the game, where actually details about sort of combat and measuring things out, because 3rd edition was definitely going over to a more miniatures-based system, where 2nd edition was very much the game of the mind, where everything was made up. 3rd edition started to go over to miniatures base, something I didn't like. You'd got attacks of opportunity and things, which only really worked when you could see it laid out with miniatures. I disliked that. I much preferred, rather than moving pieces around a map, I wanted the game just to be in my mind. But all games seem to have adjusted to this, and I have to admit I've adapted. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe I've just adapted. New competence into the fray, running the game, using miniatures and grids. So we're laying out things there, 64 quarter circle diagonal, and areas of effective spells. Special abilities, and we detail them out. So we've got blind sight and breath weapon, anti-magic, different abilities that enemies and creatures can get. Gaseous form, poison, low light vision, resistance to energy, spell resistance, turn resistance. Condition summaries. So what happens when somebody's helpless? What happens when they're grappled? When they're nauseated? It details all of those effects. Cold dangers, weather hazards, weather. Let's keep skipping through. As I said, I don't want this to last forever. We detail some adventures, so site-based adventures, event-based adventures, really telling you how to make up adventures. There's encounters within it. Tougher monsters, detailing a dungeon. They even detailed the awards that you should be having there. Types of doors within it, different features you can have within a dungeon to make them more interesting. Random furnishings tables, minor features and furnishings tables. Everything you can pretty much randomly create. Just they wander into a room, you roll some dice, and that's what's in the room. Random encounter master table, and detail by level. So your players are 6th level. You can roll a random, and they come up against 1d3 harpies, or 1 quasit, which is a demon. Of course, 3rd edition had gone back to calling things devils and demons. 2nd edition, because of the crusade, the satanic panic, had moved away from actually referring to things as devils and demons. They become Tanari and Bazatu. I honestly don't remember what the devils were called. But it came up with a fantasy name for them. But 3rd edition just went back, and those terms became far less used, so everything was demons and devils once again. So we've got random wilderness encounter lists. Generating towns, lots of random tables in this book. How to create your campaigns. I'm going to skip through large sections. We've got equipment and boats here. We've got building your world, how economics work, legal issues, politics, all lots of things you want to consider on making. A very solid inclusion in the book. Although these days you're probably going to be watching YouTube videos for the same information. We've got detailing of Renaissance weapons, so taking weapons more up to date. Rewards, so different things people can get. Story awards, mission goals, treasure, monsters with treasure. We've got random for the different levels. And then we're on to the magic items. And to tell the truth, as a player, this was the section you were buying the book for. So you could leaf through it and say, well, my character really wants to go out and get a magic shield. Let's see where they actually start there. I want an adamantine shield. It's a large non-magical shield made from adamantine. giving it a natural +1 enhancement bonus. Melee weapon special abilities. And magical weapons were definitely, I think, easier to get in 3rd edition. It was definitely easier to customize what you wanted. So we've got magical rings here. We're on to wands and rods. Scrolls. Let's just leaf through wondrous items. An amulet of health. Major wondrous items. Boots of striding and springing. Boots of levitation. Boots of elvenkind. So we've got all the equipment, all the stuff that you would go out and you'd be like, oh yeah, I want my character to be able to fly, so I want a ring of flying. But this was your player shopping list. Mask of the Skull, looking very cool. A robe of eyes. I remember one of my characters had them. I couldn't understand how every time I was hit I wasn't poked in the eye. What else we got? Oh, that was a nice picture of a bag of devouring. Bags of holding are interdimensional spaces where you can carry tons and tons of stuff just by carrying a small sack. Bags of devouring are pretty much the same, except they will randomly eat stuff put into them. A deck of many things, the most dangerous thing you can stick in your campaign, because you can destroy your campaign just with a deck of many things. Do not use them. I promise you, you will regret it. Creating magical items. So D&D 3rd edition had the crafting system where you can go out and you can actually create magical items. And then we're on to the quick reference tables. We're right at the back of the book here. The index, and then some tokens for getting 47% off Dragon Magazine. Tomorrow's magazine at yesterday's prices. More dangerous, more disturbing, more diabolical. 47% seems a very oddly peculiar price. I don't know why they chose that. And that's the end of the book. That's the Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide for 3rd edition. As I said before, 3rd edition's a very solid version of the game. I really like it. And in the days when the internet was fairly primitive, the year 2000, this was definitely an essential book. It walks you through all the elements of creating a campaign. Very, very solid. Anyway, hopefully that's been a bit quicker. Hopefully I haven't wasted half an hour like I did last week. So, thank you very, very much for watching through to the end. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye.